Alright, Cameron, let's take a look at your paper, Emily format first. Everything is good here. I actually like your title a lot. How to put the A in actor, I like that. Alright, so we talked a little bit about this at the beginning, as far as your introduction, how it was going to be put together. For the most part, Cameron, everything here is fine. The part that I don't necessarily care for is the ultimate thing is about acting, okay? The simplest solution is also Lanka's be an actor. But none of this, you are kind of building towards legacy, people remembering you, prominence and wealth, so you're building towards your topic. But nothing in here even like remotely thinks that I'm going to get to acting. So I would love to see some hints in here that we're doing this. And again, your voice, the idea of adroitness, beholding, aforementioned. I don't know. It just doesn't scream to me. This seems very stuffy, and that's not really, I think, what your paper is going to be about, is this stuffiness. So, and I think there's still a way to build voice in here. Yes, they're bigger words, but does it fit with your tone? And that's where you got to kind of balance everything out. You have your main points built in. You have that thesis statement, which is good. So that part works well in your introduction. So maybe just build a little bit on that beginning part. Maybe start with a quote, from an actor and who talks about the building of skills. Something like that would be an effective way to start off your paper. All right, one thing to also watch out for, I've seen it a couple times already, is too many spaces. You have 2 spaces up here, so just work on that. All right, so be careful, Cameron. We got a lot of punctuation mistakes that we need to talk about. Every extensive path begins with a catalyst, so we have a comma splice here. The start to this particular one involves the desire to be an actor, so comma splice there. For this first step, comma, age may vary. So you do this a couple times, then you have a however in the sentence, okay? This is going to be semicolon, however, comma, it is recommended. Since this is a complete sentence all on its own, you need to put a semicolon there. This is technically another comma splice. So make sure that you punctuate it correctly. So it goes semicolon, however, comma. So recommend that at least by the time you begin high school, you have some experience as a performer. High school is definitely 2 words, so make sure you change that. All right, so I really thought this was going to be a little bit more humorous. And when I said, oh, it sounds stuffy up here with this words, it actually kind of is stuffy. Your whole tone for this piece is rather straightforward and stuffy, which is fine. I don't care that you have that tone. It just caught me off guard a little bit, because I was really expecting you to say to revolve around as many emotions as possible. So I was expecting you to be like, date a girl and then dump her, and then be a jerk, and then be a nice person, and get used to that. So it just caught me off guard. This is another example of the whole however in the middle of a sentence when you have 2 pieces of 2 complete sentences. There's your space issue again with having too many spaces. So actors who can manage both comedic and dramatic approaches are a valuable commodity. Give me an example. This would be a great place for an outside source to use. So as raw as possible. Nothing wrong with starting small and working your way up, so that's good. And this is the language that caught me. If you're performing with a certain magnitude of eminence. So by the peak of your high school career, you should have been the main character in a play by your junior year. So is that the peak is your junior year? I would reword this. By the peak of your high school career, you should have been the main character in at least 3 plays. Something like that. I don't know. Splendid repertoire under your belt. You are now prepared to move on to the phase of your acting career. So next phase of your acting career, acting school. So you got to transition there into the next part. But again, maybe add some more examples here to make your main point stick out more. All right, so this is your topic sentence essentially, but I think it really needs a little bit more involved. You got space issues here. It could be expensive. Board as cheap as $5,000 a year. So, and again, for your citation, is it really his last name that's first in the works cited page, or is it this title that's first, and you're missing a quote here? So which one is first? That's what you should put in the in-text citation. Luckily, you'll be able to pay off this debt by accepting future job offers. So, I would just reword this and say, it may cost a lot now, but once you become an actor and are making money, you'll pay off the debt easily, something like that. So you'll be able to solidify your acting infrastructure, but what does that really mean? Give me an example. In an interview, comma, acclaimed voice actor Keith David reaffirms it, and this would be the place that you would use a colon here, because this is setting up a quote. He reaffirms how important it is to study theater. I would like to know what classes you would take in a theater curriculum. I don't know that. So what classes would you be taking as a theater major, and how would those help you along the way? I think that's important information. Ready for after having finished your tutelage at theater school, comma, you're ready for the next step in the proverbial ladder of acting. So we can't use we. That's first person. Just say you must move to a big city, comma, preferably New York or Los Angeles, comma, for your chance in the limelight, something like that. So I would reword that sentence to get rid of that wrong pronoun. All right, I think I have a suggestion for you for this next paragraph, but let's get through it, and then at the end I'll get to what you can do. All right, so again, weak topic sentence. You have that however in the middle, so fix that, which you really need to fix again because you have a semicolon here. So if you put a semicolon here, you're going to need to fix this part as well. This reminds me, there's a comedy skit. I'll forget his name. Oh, it's John Mulaney. He has a skit, an album called New in Town. I think it's New in Town. It's really funny. There may be some language in there, so don't necessarily, take my word for it. But you get into this, long list of things that might be overwhelming to you, but you have to be optimistic, which is good. I like that you use the Henry Fonda example, which is fine, but when you get to the end here, don't say they, because you're talking about one specific person, okay? After all, film star Henry Fonda didn't seek his fame by choosing to stay in Grand Island, Nebraska. He decided to move east or west to seek his fortune. Where did he move to? I'm assuming west, but be specific where he moved to. Maybe be specific where you're gonna find friends at. Now, here's where I'm gonna make a suggestion. So you bring up Broadway. Broadway is capitalized. Following a few more years of acting on Broadway. Well, Broadway is New York. Okay, so I feel like, and your next thing is about being Hollywood famous. So why not make this paragraph move east to New York, and then you can be really specific with, what you're going to do in New York, and then move west to Hollywood to get into the film industry. I think that maybe might, make this paragraph a little bit more focused and a little bit more specific. I don't know. I just feel like that might be a better way, whatever. And it would make more sense if Henry Fonda did theater first in New York first, and if not, find somebody that moved to New York to do theater before they became a big Hollywood star. I think that might work a little bit better. So, actually, yeah, and this would make that transition statement a little bit better. I don't even know if you need that last part there, if you make that transition stronger. All right, so it's within your grasp, but the greatest obstacle to this reward is yourself. So I kind of like this idea that you might be your own worst enemy, but then that's not really the theme of this whole thing. So I wonder if maybe that's not necessarily because you do talk about it at the beginning, but that's about it. So I don't know if that's the best topic sentence if you're not really going to explain it through the whole paper. This is a probably way too complicated sentence here. You're trying to do a lot of things in here. I would break this apart and maybe talk about a couple different areas here. Remember, period would go inside the quotes if it's at the end there. Your painstaking, soul-crushing pilgrimage to Hollywood won't be for nothing. Again, I don't know. This really doesn't fit your voice up to this point. I don't know. Comma and a semicolon next to each other, that never happens, so you definitely need to fix that. Once you get over the apprehension of your new residence, so this almost feels like this should go first in the sentence about moving. So you need to improve your knack for stagecraft. This is a run-on sentence here that you need to fix. And this is where and then you jump right into you're going to get rewarded. I would say what I would want to see more of is some specific examples, like what director are you going to work with? What actors are you going to work with that are going to improve you overall? Maybe find a quote from an actor saying, "Oh yeah, Chris Pratt really helped me on set. He really, made me a better actor." That kind of outside sources will really help you. You don't have to end your career at the particular moment that you get an Oscar, comma. Although it would be funny if you quit acting as soon as you were an Oscar on live television. I think this is supposed to be a dash. Actually, a dash wouldn't work either because you couldn't just take that straight out of the sentence and have it make sense. So you got to reword this sentence as well. And then you've met your goal of becoming rich and famous. Okay, not the greatest. I don't mind the sentence, but it doesn't really feel like your thesis statement. Remember, each main point gets its own sentence of summary. And this is something I didn't think about. Why not tell me, like, money-wise, up in this previous paragraph, how much money you're going to make? Use some, George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Chris Pratt statistics for how much money you're going to make. You could even talk about, like, you talked about a voice actor earlier. People that do, like, cartoon movies, animated movies, just for their voice, how much they get paid. So that could be some interesting information to help you as well. Again, you have a very straightforward sentence like this, but then I think this sentence is pretty weak. So I think I'd want to change that one. Works cited page. So if they're really the author of the whole website, then yes, you use their last name. If they're not the author of Campus Explorer, which I'm assuming they're not the whole author, you got to start with this: how much does theater school cost? Remember, every line after the first line gets indented in. So indent, 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 indent. Those all get ended in. I don't think he's the author of Backstage.com, so you got to start with this instead. So you got some works cited stuff to fix as well, Cameron. All right, good luck on your rewrite, Cameron. I think you got a good start, and you need to fix a few things grammatically, and maybe adding some additional unique examples.